What's up? We have the one and only, the man himself, Mr. Codie Wiggins. What's
happening?
up? And Andre, sorry, I don't know your last name.
No, it's Mina. It's pretty complicated, but don't worry. Yeah, Andre is fine.
No,
Andre
we're
is
going to
fine.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Andre
Mina.
Mineh.
Yeah.
Okay,
we talked about it, right?
We literally just talked about this outside.
Yeah.
I was like, yo,
Yeah.
bro, I know your last name, but I don't know how to say it properly, and it's like a Y that's in there.
Yeah, it's Minea, but it's spelled Mina.
And I was saying
Yeah.
Mania. That is definitely
Yeah,
wrong.
some
That's my
say
country.
Minia,
You
some say
tried
yeah.
it later in that, didn't you?
It's good. It's good.
There's a whole southern word that doesn't exist in this name. Can I
Like,
curse?
That's not, yeah.
Okay, cool. Fuck shit.
Yeah.
I just had to get it out.
Peep his poo.
Okay, come on.
Come on. You're like, how do you guys know each other?
Random, not even randomly. He came to one of my classes, and
Yep.
same that you were saying about Jake, right? As you were saying about Jake, it's like you see potential in someone, and it's not a lot of people who are able to do my style as easily in a class in an hour and a half, 2 hour setting.
Tell 'em.
Whereas he came in and he was already familiar with my style just from a distance, and I didn't know that. But after class, I spoke to him, he spoke to me, and then we just kind of connected over a few classes that I was teaching, and then I just told him I wanted to kick it. I'm new to London, and I'm trying to find my tribe, and I want to invest where I can, and I don't really kick it with a lot of folks. I keep my circle small, so I just value his support on all levels, and the fact that he's in film school, he teaches me a few things, and vice versa. You know, just kind of a collaborative friendship has built over the past 2 years that we've known each
Sick.
other.
That's actually really similar. It's
really similar.
That's cool. It started off as like teacher-student, then it became like work relationship, and then friendship kind of like...
Yeah, we hired you a few
blossomed from-
times.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
The
dope.
beer always does it.
Yeah.
Like, you want to have a beer? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Like he used to hire me to teach at his dance school.
Oh, that's word.
And then, I don't know, now it's like we speak every day. It's like, like
Motivation.
my second partner. Like,
Yes.
Nice.
See, that's how
my
I
girl's
go.
like, is that Jake again? I'm like, uh-huh.
Yeah. So you're
jealous.
cheating on me with Jake?
Yeah. She's like, so what are you doing tomorrow? I'll be like, seeing Jake.
Yeah.
She's like, we're meant to be going for dinner. I'm like, sorry.
Can Jake come over too? Jake, bring your sleeping bag. I promise you won't get in trouble.
He'll do the dishes.
It does feel like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm like, tell Georgia I'm so sorry.
He rings me, he goes, I'm so sorry I'm interrupting you on your debut, girl. I'm like, it's okay. She expects it.
100. See,
She
as
knows
long
it's
as she
happening.
knows, we're good to go.
It's really interesting, actually, because I was thinking about you all the time
Okay, I
the other day,
love
and
it.
I was like, you've, and it's a huge part I want to talk to you, you've obviously moved here from LA, but you were back and forth Atlanta and LA, right? Or were you based in LA?
I was based in LA at the time. Like I had an apartment there, but I own a home in Atlanta
Yeah,
as
because
well.
I think I spoke to you a while back, and you were going back and forth too. And you came here.
Yeah.
And
That's what I asked.
And that's it. Go.
Yeah. Okay. So
Because as every dancer's dream is
To go to the
there,
States.
right?
Yeah, of course.
Like, and it was mine. I did it. I understand why every other dancer wants to do
You
it.
know, it's-
So when you came here, I was like, ooh, bold move. Must be a chick.
no, not at all. Actually.
Oh, sick. Okay.
Yeah, it's a few things, and I can start with the base level, which was I was in a long distance relationship for about 2 years before getting here. I was on tour when I met my now wife, and it just was conversation. The pandemic was about to really kick off. The gates were about to close. I had literally been visiting every 2 months for about a year and a half to come see her. So every month, every 2 months, I was in London anyway. And I was like, you know, in life, I've told myself I could live in another country, not really thinking I'm gonna fucking do that. But, you know, the optimism is there. And she presented the opportunity. I literally got off the plane back in the States from a visit on March 11th or 13th, between March 11th and March 13th. The gates closed on the 15th. I was literally repacking a bag after we had a conversation within 24 hours to get on a plane to come back to London for the pandemic. And it's just for the lockdown. We thought it was going to be 2 weeks to a month in advance, you know.
So did we, bro.
So
I apologize.
yeah, no worries. So in the grand scheme of entertainment, a month is not that long when you're working. A month is 2 jobs, potentially 3 jobs, depending on, you know, what it is. And it's time consuming. So, I can be out of work for a month, whatever. I got, you know, my savings. I can go and kick it, go spend time with my lady, and, you know, just be in the space with her because nobody's going to be working. Little did I know that turned into 4 months and I couldn't leave. So in that, I just decided to stay, man. And to be transparently honest, I also needed a break from the industry. I've been doing it since I graduated high school at 18. Like, I started dancing at 18. So I got my first job as a performer at 19, turning 20. And it's just been go, 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 almost go, go, go ever since then. You know, everybody hits a wall every once in a while, and, you know, you got to figure out the different additives. I don't like to say transitions, but the different additives to who you are in the grand scheme of, you know, a decade. You're going to switch up every 8 to 10. So in this opportunity that was presented, I just decided to stay because I needed a change of atmosphere, man. I needed to be around another creative influence, and you're in a hamster wheel in LA. You're running a race with no ending. There's no finish to the race. You're just running. What's your goal? You know what I'm saying? And for me personally, I had a few goals. I met them, and then now it's like, what's the new? And I left. Literally in the blink of an eye, I just decided to leave.
What is the new goal?
It's always been directing. It's always been creatively directing. I choreograph every once in a while. I'm not in the position of choreographing that I would want to be in because I haven't put the work in on social media to exist like that in the industry as of yet.
But just hearing that hurts my soul, but yeah.
I mean, you know,
it's the way it is.
It
It's
is,
change.
you know,
Yeah.
it's just change, exactly. And I've actually been more appreciative of the break that I've taken. So now that I can now reapproach the industry as a different art, as an artist, like as a real artist, versus just doing it because it finances my pockets. And there's no longevity in just getting the quick checks because you burn yourself out. I burned myself out a little bit, and I caught it before it got too bad. And I didn't want to start disrespecting the industry. I didn't want to start disrespecting friendships and relationships and associates based on my own jaded feeling of what the industry was doing to me at that time period of what transition takes place in our environment. Like in dance, every month there's a new move. On TikTok, there's a new move every week. In the industry, there's some new poppin' teacher, some new poppin' choreographer, some new poppin' creative director that has been working, and we might not have seen it on the surface, but it seems like it's happened overnight. And that can be fuckery on the mental. So I started to let those things bother me when they shouldn't have, because I'm stronger than that. But you know, that race starts to tear away at that exterior. So what I'm basically getting at is I've been working a lot on myself over these past 2 years, even before the pandemic, and just having the separation now is going to help with my new approach. If that all makes sense.
And it was beautifully worded. And,
Yeah,
and
exquisitely worded.
I don't know about for like you guys, but like that resonated a lot with me because I let it get to that place where I let it to start my feelings and what the industry is doing to me or what I'm doing to me in life circumstances. I let it translate into work. I let my energy translate into those places, and now I look back and you go, oh, regret how I acted on that job. I didn't bring the right energy to that room. Like I was sometimes the vacuum as opposed to the power source. You know what I mean? I was sucking the
1000.
energy.
Ooh, I like that.
So the fact that you registered that was happening and you like, let's tap out, like take a break where you can, credit. Because I feel like
very self-aware.
probably not a lot of dancers do that.
It's because there is pressure, but it's
Because we're always living in the rat race.
1000.
Like, you're always living in the like every day is an audition, even if it's not an audition. Every day you're progressing, you're chasing the dream because there's that guy next to you who's waiting to jump on your tail and take that moment, you know?
And I've run into that a little bit here in the UK, whereas there is a booming industry here. And there are just a few things that I have run into that I've done already. Not in the grand scheme of any job, but just the environment. And it's like, I don't want to do that again. I've already done it. Not saying that I'm any higher than any man or woman next to me. It's just, that's not my race anymore. I'm not running it like that, hence the true artist. And the reason why I was able to identify with the change in my spirit and my approach is based on my study habits of different artists, from singers, rappers, to classical artists like a Van Gogh or a Beethoven or a Mozart, like really looking into those individuals and their personalities, and at a time period when there was no television, there was no social media, there was just land and there was just opportunity to figure things out and kind of fuck around without any judgments necessarily, or the eyes of judgment were at a smaller scale, and it gave them opportunity to exist purely for themselves. I create for myself, not for any other thing, unless a prince or a king said, I'm gonna chop your head off if you don't paint this bowl of cereal, like whatever. At the same token, now, imagine Van Gogh, his style changed 3 times or so within a 10-year 20-year period of his existence as a popular artist, hence a Chris Brown. He was the Chris Brown of his era. He used to travel around and collaborate with other artists and just sit and watch them draw and paint so that he could adapt and figure out, well, I like how you did that. I'm going to use that. I'm not going to steal it. I'm going to do my strokes, and then I'm going to add what you've done to what you're looking at to mine so that I can keep evolving. And then I'm going to keep making these statements through time, and I'm going to be unfuckwittable at some token to where you can't do what I do because I've soaked up so much positivity and so much artistic energy from so many different sources. You would have to run that same race in your way to even reach where I am. And that's what I feel like I am approaching now. There's a vibration that is taking place amongst everyone that I'm touching. So I just want to keep that evolution happening, man. I want that vibe to keep going. So that's why my approach now to the industry is just going to be for fun, man. I don't care about a job at this point. I just want to create. I could give a fuck, honestly. Sorry.
My takeaway from that is two things. A, that you create from a very authentic place now. So you're focusing on being you. But the other takeaway was, do you think people don't create from an authentic place because of social media? Because it's the eyes of judgment, as you said earlier, is so much bigger now that we're trying to appeal to a mass audience rather than the smaller target audience that we once did before social media.
And you're asking, one more time, do I view the artist as authentic or not?
Do you think people don't create from an authentic place?
Please feel free to chip in, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, yep,
don't just sit there and like.
No, I'm just absorbing
for
the.
sure. I'm just double checking. I just wanted to know.
No worries.
Yeah.
I'll talk.
He's the one. Trust when I tell you, his drive is like no other. No, I can't say like no other. He's just strong as fuck. Hence, small circle.
I can do better.
Every day we can.
Oh yeah.
Hey, we can all do better.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
come on. But to answer your question, I think generational splits will dictate that opinion, if that makes sense, how I put that. Because the new generation of dancer, they have more opportunity to be of a larger status due to their consistency. Not saying that doesn't come from an authentic place. They just understand the process differently.
Right.
They can create one piece and stretch that for 2 weeks on social media. Tyler, the Creator, said it best recently. Whatever you've created, feel good about it. Be proud of it and promote the fuck out of that shit. He's still promoting an album he put out 1.5 years, almost 2 years ago. And when I tell you that set is still nasty, like the first time it's ever touched a stage, anytime he hits that shit, it should be how all of us should approach that, in my opinion. Like, you should be proud of it. I'm gonna promote my class video or my concept video or my fashion video for the next 2 weeks, and it's the same outfit. I don't care.
It's funny you say that because now we're in such a viral world where things come and go overnight, right? So like, and we've created that for ourselves, how we get something great or we make something great or something goes viral, and then we're constantly like, that was good, what's next?
Facts.
Whereas if
We
we
were
look,
talking about this earlier.
if we look back to all the things that we think are great from before social media, so let's talk about like, Michael Jackson Dangerous Tour.
And the Bad Tour.
But we're always gonna we don't need 20 others after that. Like for me, like the Elvis Presley '68 comeback special is the best Elvis performance.
That's the
of
one
all-
with the small square.
Yeah, the best Elvis performance of all time. Like I don't need to see all the others. I don't need them all to be recreated. I can keep watching that one and it still gives me that same feeling. We've lost touch with that.
That's
You know what I
interesting.
mean? Like
Agreed.
we've lost touch with that. So like
Agreed.
I was thinking. So I think about obviously my business and what I do as a living, and I look at, okay, so let's just use the podcast as an example. So I was like, okay, my dream was to have Marty Godelka on the podcast, right?
He will.
I've done it. We did it in
word
lockdown.
up.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I was
that's
like,
dope.
and it was
That's
like one of, for me, like not only a heart fulfilling moment, but I know that was a dope podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like,
1000%.
how is that not like touch the masses? Because I know my Marty shit. Like, cause he's a big hero. So I did homework, I asked questions. Even he was like, yo, like
where did
you're asking stuff
Nardwuar?
that no one's ever asked before, you know?
Facts.
And I'm like, isn't it funny? Like that was popping for like a week. And then boom,
it's
it's
gone.
gone. And
But
you're
see,
like,
that's our job for promotion at this point.
yeah,
That's-
but we don't do that. We don't keep
At
promoting
all.
that thing 2 years ago because we're like, oh, we've got to create new shit.
But think about
Whereas
Sorry
the
to
Mona Lisa
interject.
is still the Mona Lisa, bro.
big
yeah.
facts.
Like,
Big
we're
ass
not trying to make a
facts.
new one.
Yeah.
But then you think about the teachers now, and some of our OG teachers. I could give example, Lyle, a Jay Blaze, to now you have your Nat Bats and your Isabels, and you have your Amanda Grimes, and you have your Candace Browns. Like, there are so many different splits within those names I just gave, but you see that Lyle can still teach Nike boots.
Because it is iconic.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
And as soon as I hear that song, what
That's
do you
who
think
you
of?
think
Lyle
of.
Benny, yeah.
I
Even
think of-
what's the one he just taught?
The Drake one?
The Rick Ross one.
Yeah.
Don't make me hurt your feelings. Ooh, what the fuck? Like, I want to learn that just because I want to fail at it. Like,
Yeah.
he literally
that's
just
good,
taught
that's
that
good.
maybe a day or two ago. But the fact that he can just go in that bag and the masses still are attracted to that. One is the feeling, but two, I think at that time period it wasn't that big of a pool for people to be watching something. It was on YouTube, so it was not as quick as Instagram now.
Yeah.
So with the Marty thing, in my opinion, I think if you wanted to bring it back up, there's gold nuggets all through that. I would imagine that means I need to do more of my own research in regards to your podcast. Apologies, but it's about message, man. Like, if there's gold nuggets in that whole piece, put that shit up again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like
That's
small
why we
15,
don't do that, do we?
15
We don't-
seconds.
we
Like
never go back on
something-
old shit, but I think it's because of the world we're in is so
Forward.
progress.
But nah, it's supposed to be a fistful of knowledge. Your throat. I'm shoving, even if it's the same thing. How many times have we heard, I'm gonna be one of the greatest, that is a promise. Everybody is remixing that shit.
Yeah.
Everybody is using the same sound bite. One dance, two dance, everybody in the gym, everybody who's on a treadmill, anybody who's showing off their body or putting on a piece of clothing, anybody who's drinking water is using, I'm gonna be one of the greatest, that is a promise.
Yeah.
And she's still singing it. And now she's doing different variations of it. She's on festival tours singing that soundbite. It's
Yeah.
a minute. You are popping because of that. That is awesome. Don't get it twisted. But that just kind of shows, like, she probably put that up months ago and it just popped off out of nowhere because she just reposted it. I don't know if that's facts, but it could be that.
Yeah. But even things like, so like within, like, let's say our industry, people be like, you're only as good as your last job.
Nah, fuck that.
And I'm like, wait, so you're telling me Codie Wiggins is only as good as the last job he did, but the last job he did might have been a commercial dressed as like a teddy bear.
A cat.
a cat.
You know what I'm saying? And it probably was that, right?
I did.
And I
I
even know what
actually did.
commercial it was. That's why I went there. You look good on that dance floor.
Thanks.
It's a cleaning product, right?
Okay.
You
Oh, that
there?
was kitty litter.
Kitty litter.
That's
Oh.
crazy. But I've always wanted to do shit like
So,
that.
so you're telling me he's only as good as that cat? Yet, like,
but that was last year.
like years and years of Usher and like a Beyonce, Jason Derulo, Justin Timberlake. All these things don't count
Chris
because it's
Brown.
not the last thing. But we move on to Chris Brown.
Nice. Don't forget that one.
Nicely
Recently,
done.
actually.
Nicely done. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know how then we're so quick to be like, you're only as good as the last job you did. Well, that's not true because look at this legacy that's built. And we were talking about legacy earlier with another episode we did. But that's just us brainwashing ourselves to show we have to keep doing the new thing or the next thing. Whereas why can't we sit in the glory of what we did? Why do we have to be like what's been immediate?
But see, I've never been good about the wrong term I'm going to use is boasting. But I've never been one to boast. So nobody
You should.
knows. I should.
You should.
I definitely should. And I think that's going to change. But I also was around at a time where social media was so new and I wasn't really into it in the beginning. So there was a lack there of footage of me performing with these people.
Yes.
And if it is up, it's grainy. So I can't really, it's not that I can't post it, it's just you can't really see what's going on. And you didn't know I had a box top. Nobody knew I had braids before I have locks. Like, nobody saw me with a low cut because at that time period, it's like
I did.
flips. Yeah, you did. Yeah. And we met around that
I
time
did,
too.
yeah.
So we have history,
Yeah.
like if y'all didn't know. But now it's like to talk about it. There are so many people now. And no offense to anybody that I say anything about on their creativity because I respect everyone. But everybody, not everyone, but a select few and a large number of them ones have danced for Chris. Same thing for Usher. They are of the culture. So they change as music changes, as clothing changes, as sounds change, they adapt. So that means the dancer, the genre of movement is going to change with them as well. Not to say that they're trying to stay young. It's not that. It's just what's happening in their field.
Yeah.
Musically, creatively, on a visual level, it's all changing. It's all forever changing. And they just have to not keep up, but adapt.
Yeah.
Because you can run the race how you want to. Tortoises are fast as shit. Don't get it twisted. Just because the rabbit is faster doesn't mean that they're not running in the same direction. Like, they're not of some speed. They're all going to make it to that finish line, whatever that goal is for them. But now I just think, I lost my thought. Where was I going? Yes, but I've never been good at speaking highly of myself as far as what I've done. And to come here to the UK, I tell you what I thought. I'm gonna go into these offices, I'm gonna spit my resume, I'm gonna give my reel, I choreographed this, I've assisted on this, and I've danced on this, and I'm gonna work right away. Fuck nah.
They go, and they probably go, how many followers you got?
Facts.
Exactly.
Or they go, yeah, so we're not really, or you should go and have dinner with, or we should do, and I'm like, why do I have to do all of this when the proof is on the table right now and the experience is there? You can tell by the resume, you can tell by visuals, you can tell by choreography and textures of movement, quality of movement, what I bring to the table. What is so hard about change? What is so difficult about acceptance of something that's new taking shape? Hence, us going back in the bag and saying, I know I showed you this glass of water before, but that shit is still good. Hence your podcast. I know you heard about this before, but I had fucking Marty Kudelka on my shit. And he said this should resonate to you. Performer, teacher, creative, inspired artist. Like, you can use all of this shit to your advantage. And I got access to it. You didn't. But I'm going to allow you to have access to this part. You get what I'm saying? So now it's just, like you said, with the integrity of authenticity. What's your voice at this point? That's something hard to put your thumb on. And it does create all that pressure. It makes you want to untie the shoes that are running the race. Because at this point, it's like, man, do I care enough? That's why I tell y'all now, like, I just want to be an artist, bro. I want to collaborate.
So do you feel like you weren't an artist before?
I think that I was an artist with the pressures of the industry telling me what I should be doing.
As opposed to what you want to be doing?
Because I thought that what I wanted to be doing might not be as fresh as the next person because I was trying to be a part of the fad of popularity.
So let's rewind. So you said kind of throughout the 2 years of COVID era, you were working on yourself. What did that process look like?
Depression to start.
Nice, honest answer. Let's
Man.
go there.
Congrats.
Thanks.
For acknowledging.
No, yeah. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
you have to. That's acceptance and that's evolution to some degree. I'm speaking way different now than I was then. And I didn't know that I was jaded when I first got to London, coming from the States. And I'd say it was some high level that had me wanting to commit suicide or anything. And for anyone, that's not a joke. Like, it's a serious thing. And sitting in London, that is gray. No offense again,
It's
guys.
so great.
It's so
So
great.
everything's great.
But it really does affect your happiness.
Yeah.
It affects
Yeah.
the smile, like the pigmentation of your skin, like your presence. It affects all of that. I have some of the illest confidence that you will ever encounter, I think, because I'm just so comfortable with everybody. I'm comfortable with myself. I'm not gonna pass judgment for anything. Do what you wanna do. Cool. But it started off with depression, and my wife created a system in the house for herself. And she allowed me to sit in the dark, figuratively, while she's trying to figure out, because this is our first time living together as well at that point. She's trying to figure out like the balance of what's a good mood, what's a bad mood, how do you keep your toiletries, how do you keep your toiletries, like how do you cook, how do you clean the kitchen, like all of those small nuances kind of distracted me through the first 4 months. But then after that, the depression set in like month 6, month 7. I was in Portugal at that time because I couldn't stay here for 6 months without papers.
Right.
So I had to, kind of dip country real quick, and then it gave me another perspective. The speed of my life has been NASCAR fast until 2020. I just got off Justin's tour in 2019, and I had about 7 or 8 months to where I was doing a few jobs here and there in LA. Things started to slow down toward the pandemic because things were changing for everybody. And then when I jumped ship, nobody was working here in the UK that I was aware of, but I was networking during the pandemic. I met with all the agents, most of the agencies, and I'll keep some of my comments to myself on that one, but met with some of them. Didn't go as planned, and that's when a few of the insecurities of the industry started to take shape, where it's like, why do I care that much when I can develop the opportunity? But it took me a second to get to that point because now social media gives us that opportunity. It gives us that platform. But it also gives us that fuckery of, this person just posted 4 videos. What are you doing? You just posted 1.
Yeah.
Why does that fucking matter?
I don't know, but it does.
It does.
Like,
It's some makeshift
I don't know why it
something.
does, but it does.
But
Like,
it
it's the new
does.
currency, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
It is. It's crazy to even think that that's like going from in-your-face auditions to having artists that create every 7 to 10 years something amazing that you want to be a part of, to now it's every week, every month.
Yeah, it's like quantity.
Man,
It's all about quantity.
all of
fast
these
content.
articles,
Like
yes.
I always
Content.
use that example for Justin. Like I'm like, as a soloist artist, how many albums has he made?
5, I think.
Yeah, right. So you got
Justified.
Future Sex Love Sound,
2021, 2020 part
and
2.
We said Justified.
Mhm.
Yeah,
2020 part 2.
and then In the Woods.
Yep, Man of the Woods. That's 5.
That's it, right?
And a few singles.
And then, I rate him. I think he's super dope. How many has Bieber released?
Oof.
You know,
Yeah.
because he's younger, and this is
Different
the thing on him,
generation,
it's because
yeah.
he's young and he's different generation. So he's trying to keep up with the kids because that's his
Yeah.
demographic.
But he's even changed too. He's not putting out as many albums as he was before. Well, I'm sorry. He probably has 10. Less than 10, possibly. I can't name all of them, but I know.
He's finding out.
Legit.
But in less of amount of time than Justin, right?
1,000%.
And,
Yeah.
Bieber's
It's 5 to 7 years
Bie-
between Justin and
Bieber's probably
Timberlake.
bigger because the demographic of audience that he can reach.
Mm-hmm.
But like, as far as we go down in the history books and greatness, for me, and maybe that's because I'm a super fan, like he's not greater, like because it's like the quantity as opposed to the quality.
Yeah.
Now I'll interject on that one. Based on how Justin Bieber started, was of a different era.
Of course.
Same dynamic as far as the Pandemonium goes, because Timberlake was with NSYNC for
So he
5
was
to 7
already
years.
established.
Yeah.
Exactly.
True.
But that mass amount of fans is why he's been able to last, because at that time period, you have smaller industry. You got labels who are in control of your promotion versus you being in control of it. Hence, Bieber built his following from the ground up on YouTube to where that fan base, he has millions of fans before he got signed. Justin got that from Disney when he was 10, but nobody was really checking for him on Star Search. And at 10 years old, before he did the Mickey Mouse Club, from Mickey Mouse Club going into a 5-year hiatus until he was 15, 16, going into NSYNC. NSYNC's Pandemonium is competition with Backstreet Boys and 98 Degrees. You go from that Pandemonium, all those girls who then transition into the mothers, who now are the mothers of Justin Bieber's fans.
True.
Then they start out younger. They're 9, 10, 12 years old, Billie Eilish, who are fanning over Bieber's Pretty Boy look at the time period, which is what The Machine asked of him. And, he had creative contributions to all of that stuff, and not to take away from anyone. But then just talking machines, he built his machine, whereas Justin built his with extra help.
True.
And then Bieber got the extra help as he continued to go and progress from performing outside of arenas to then performing in arenas to then going in stadiums, and now he can do anything. So that YouTube speed to then transitions into Instagram speed to then now we're at TikTok speed to where albums don't really mean shit anymore.
No.
You got EPs now.
It's 1 minute
and
sound
singles.
bites.
Facts.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
it-
one of the greatest.
You just need to drop a hook.
Facts.
Yeah, 20 seconds.
As long as
and
it's
you're
a 30-second hook, like you've
Yeah.
made it.
Good.
Like you've made it for a short period of time. But then, is the financial gain the same as it was? Because again,
That's a hard one.
because like if you think, obviously we're talking about artists and stuff, but like now money isn't in the single. Money is in the tour.
That is true.
Yeah.
It's
Like
true.
money is in ticket sales now. It's not on album sales or song sales.
Exactly.
Well, streaming versus a unit. I'm not well knowledged on this conversation too crazily, but just my opinion of what I see from the outside. Obviously, history, a unit, you know how much you're going to make from a unit versus a stream. I don't know how streaming necessarily works too crazy because, again, I took a break from the industry until recently. Like, I really turned off. So to study that aspect, hence movies going into the streaming realm, I think there's a way. It is live. If we're allowed to go live, you make most of your money there in
Merch.
your merch and all that stuff. Tyler, the Creator. But yeah, I think that's a hard one. I think they do still make some pretty decent money though. Because these young kids, like these kids out here dress like I dress. What?
But they ain't paying for it. That's the difference, though.
It's free.
It's free because
Yeah.
they're an influencer.
Yeah.
So they get, yo, I'll send you this, whereas we didn't have that.
Facts.
You
And it
only
was so
got it if
hard
they
to
were
get
like,
monetized.
oh, let's hook up Usher's dancers.
Facts.
Here's a question for you, because you kind of lived through you've performed through the generational change. What have you noticed the difference between when you're on stage performing to an audience, between kind of before social media to social media? Like, what's the energy like performing? Because what I notice is when I go to concerts, I'm watching phone screens everywhere. Whereas a few months ago, I went to watch Gary Barlow. Do you know who Gary Barlow is? So he's like from a British boy band called Take That, and he's gone solo. Our Justin Timberlake.
Word up. Come on.
But older, way
Put me
older.
on. I'm all about it.
And his audience, my parents' age.
Okay.
You know, generationally like 50 plus. Dude, I did not see one phone
Oh, that's
through
awesome.
the entire concert. And I forgot what that felt like. And it was bonkers.
It's creating a moment.
There was no lights behind me. There was only lights there. There was no glaring phones that I had to try and peer around.
through
and
or
I
watch
was,
through
it
the
was
phone.
so much more present. But like I was like, wow, I wonder what it would be like going from a stage. Like if you just get off that show and then you go on stage with Bieber, like I reckon that it's going to be more rowdy for Bieber. But what's that energy like, giving and receiving between you and the audience? How different is that? How much more present are they? Like, have you noticed a change since
There's
Instagram?
I have, but I think there's two perspectives to look at being present. For the generation before us and part of our generation, I would say the lack of phones or the non-usage of phones is the allowance for people to be that much freer in them taking off their work jackets. Whatever problems they might have had, it's all still the same. I go to a show to alleviate the pressure of what the world is doing or what work is doing or what's happening at home, right? That's the reason why we do it, to make everybody happy. Cool. But then the dynamic of a pressure of a phone is I can't mess up. I don't find joy in perfection.
It's more permanent now.
You know what I'm saying? But it's one of those things where I used to find joy in trying things on stage versus tailoring them.
Okay.
When I
So
got
it's
with
more
Justin.
of a pressure for you as a performer.
To some
Rather than-
degree.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it depends on how you take it, because the world is clickbait right now. I can go on
You
stage
can become a meme pretty
real
quick.
quick,
if you mess
but
up
you
a
can
backflip or
also
whatever.
use that to your advantage, because
Yes.
artists do it.
Yeah.
A lot of artists will say, cool, I'm gonna go on stage and I'm gonna punch one of my dancers in the, this didn't happen. I'm gonna go punch him, and this is an example. I'm gonna punch you in the face and we're gonna get it on tape. I'm gonna pay you $150,000 to do it, but then you're gonna blow up because of this. Now you have to capitalize. Just an example.
Yeah.
So now imagine if I go out with a Chris and I'm on stage, everybody is recording me. Everybody is recording each individual artist, because Chris is not the only artist anymore.
No.
You got other artists on stage with you that are as respected as you are. I had this conversation with an OG of mine when I went and did Usher in Vegas last year. And after one of the shows, I said, it's funny how some of the artists or dancers, if you will, who are on this job have a following almost as big as Ush. And he goes, well, people got to respect the fact that Usher can still sell out buildings. Ain't nobody checking for the socialite at a building. I said, yeah, that's a generational split. But if you put a live on Instagram or on TikTok, their numbers will reign just as heavy as his. Might even be a little bit more. If this person has 1.5 million, 2 million followers and Usher has 10, that doesn't mean his engagement is just as well as this other person's.
No.
I can go on live and this person can have 1 million viewers watching their shit, and Usher only has 800,000. We're in a different world now. We're not talking live stage completely anymore.
Yeah.
Hence, going on stage and having phones versus no phones. The experience is similar, just a little different. Like, it's just a little bit of a shift that's taking place. It just depends on how you want to look at it. Because I think we all still have those advantages of being able to get off on stage and really deliver an emotion and get people to engage with us. But then now the additive to that is you have a phone. Let me see your phone so you can get a point of view from stage for your followers. That's going to help me too. Now we're taking pictures together while I'm on stage and I'm supposed to be in formation.
Yeah.
But now choreographers and creative directors are creating based on that.
Yeah.
Okay,
To
this is
create
a
moments for that to happen.
Exactly. That's why I say it is beautiful that we can have shows where you don't have phones still. And even in comedy now, you got Dave Chappelle who takes your phone and locks it.
Joe Rogan too.
Joe Rogan, he will lock your shit so that you're present. You get the message. And all you have to do is talk about it. And people will say, okay, cool, next time he comes in town, I can't miss it. You can get the same effect on social media. Damn it, I wish I was at that show because I'm looking at this hashtag. Next time they come to town, I can't miss it. It's just a little bit different, but it's all kind of the same. We're all speaking the same still. It's just the definitions of some of the same terms are a little bit evolved. They've evolved a little bit, I think.
So whilst you were saying that, you said that now because of phones and everything's filmed, you feel like you can't maybe like explore, right? I don't know the exact word you said, but you can't like maybe try new things. What does that do to you as a performer? Do you feel like you're creatively dimmed? So you can't like just express how you feel in that moment? Or like if you're like, you get those urges where you're like, I want to try something. Like, do you feel like you don't have that ability anymore? Just in case you get your whack moment or like, like you look back.
It's like, I stopped, wait. Well, no, I think you just have to do it faster. I think you have to get to, you gotta go faster. Just do it quicker.
But do it double speed.
Do it double speed, yes. I think the rehearsal process helps with that. And again, this is just my opinion because I have not.
And every dancer's going to feel it differently.
1,000%. And I do think that there is space for you to create in the moment and be on stage, especially if you know the moment that's coming up and if the choreography calls for that.
That's another thing. Because
You know what I'm
if it's
saying?
for like a Marty, you have so much time for moments.
And you can freestyle and be free. It's all good.
You have so much time to be creative. And the same when you were doing Ush, there were so many moments where you got to be Codie and not the Usher dancer.
1,000%.
But not every artist lets that happen.
It's not. But even in those moments, it's personality that can bleed through each step. And if the allowance from the choreographer or the creative team gives you that, then, you can breathe and it can make sense. Not saying that you are turning down your light. I think that you can shine. You just have to figure out a way to exist underneath that umbrella. I think you should be able to take the rehearsal process and really focus on, okay, each song, there's a moment that I can exist. While I'm rehearsing this number, how many different ways can I switch this moment before I get to the first show? Because then I can make a decision before I go out to do whatever I want. Hence, with Justin Timberlake, when I was out with him, we had, before this is how intelligent Justin is, and this is how intelligent you have to be in order to be on that camp as well. One small thing. And I just kind of, I'm not rebellious. I'm a rebel to a degree, to where I do listen, but I'm gonna take a chance. I'm fast. I'm very quick. I'm nimble. So if there's choreography happening and I know it's coming, I'm going to throw a flip, I'm going to get on the floor, I'm going to do something that's going to be an eye catcher to then get into the choreography. And sometimes I don't make it, which is cool. Me and Marty have had a moment where he saw me not make it and cracked up because I definitely laid flat on the floor for a second.
But him as a former B-boy probably appreciated that.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah, good try.
Big facts. But the moment was, before the show even started, the show is like 2 hours long, 2.5 hours. To get to suit and tie is a halfway point. That means we've already been on stage an hour 15. Justin's already been on stage. We haven't talked to him before suit and tie, except for before the first number starts. So Ivan, Marty, myself, and Max would develop moments for suit and tie depending on the cities we were in. Or every night it would change. Not just your freestyle moments because of the way the structure of the show was. It's very immersive. But that moment in particular, the boys got together and we would say, okay, cool, tonight, what you feeling like, Jay? Cool, this is what we're gonna do. Bam, we're in St. Louis. We're gonna do a dance from St. Louis if we can learn it. If we can't, then...
Like a social
social
step.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If we can't get that, or if you can't get it, which he normally would get it because he's just quick. If you don't get that, or if we fuck it up to some degree, then this is our option. We always had something solid to where we get up there and it looks like we've put something together. And it's just vibey. And that's just us being connected also. But he's gone at that point. He's already in the show. By the time we get there, he's going to look at us, and we have to know it. Meanwhile, I'm on the side. I'm practicing that shit a little bit just so I don't fuck it up because I'm usually that guy. I'm trying something. I'm like excited. So it doesn't, I'm not dimming my light. I actually get to use the flashlight a little bit more. Like I get to turn that bitch up a little bit to say creatively I contributed like this and I was an influence for this moment versus I made this step up. No, I'm the essence that you see. I can take your phone and still help create the moment on stage and give it back to you and get back in pocket. That's creative. That's a part of the freestyle now. You just have to adapt and you have to now use that to your advantage. Not just for the clickbait of it because you want the followers, but it really is creative integrity. Like, how can I be clever enough to execute my job, meanwhile having fun with someone who came for an experience? If that makes all the sense, yeah.
It's crazy. Like just hearing you being like, I was on stage with Justin and I was doing it.
Yeah,
like,
right.
It's so like
it's
it's such a normal thing for him to say, and then meanwhile my heart's going, oh. Bro, how does it feel to live like almost every dancer's dream? Like even if it's not Justin, it's an Usher or a Derulo or a Beyonce. Like,
oh man, I have no idea, man. Because I swear, I'm doing what God asked me to do. I have no control. I'm here to just be a vessel, man. I just want to give, and I want to collaborate, and I want to share. And if it's the dream of someone to be in my shoes, by all means, come join me. Or you can have my spot, because I think it's enough. Right, facts. It's enough for everyone. I think everybody can exist and have the opportunity to meet said dream. But I also think that there is a glossed screen in front of our perspectives of dreams in regards to dance industry or in regards to like entertainment. Because it's not, once you do one tour, it's the same. You just get a different experience as far as how that same opportunity is given to you. To go from a Nicki Minaj that I toured with in Africa for a month or so, that experience was different because I also had to learn the show in 2 days. Coming on with Usher, I had to learn that show in 3 days before coming to London for my first set to do Wembley, 95,000 people. What? To then go with to go with Jason Derulo at a time period where I was on the road with him for a month and we had to let someone go and I had to learn the show in 6 hours to then get on stage that night. There's also stories that are attached to that because I wasn't prepared and inexperienced. But then to go to a Chris, I got the opportunity to go from the beginning, and I wore that shit out. But then there was an opportunity that came up with Chris a little later after I wasn't on tour with him, after Justin, where I had to learn the new set in 2 days. Like, so it all depends, man. Like, it depends on what the dream is, and it depends on what you want to pull from it. Because I like working with artists, not to say they have to be a musical artist like a Chris, but I enjoy working with directors. I enjoy working with artists like producers. I enjoy working with creative directors. Because no matter what you're working on as a creative director, I want to be a part of it because I respect and I enjoy what you give to the world because it's not just the artist that created this. No, you guys had a collaborative moment together to produce this bottle of water, man. Like, I will drink this until the day I die, but I also want to figure out how can I revamp this motherfucker to put my thumbprint on it. Like, I want to be a part of that. So anytime I work with artists at this point, hence an actor or singer, rapper, or whatever, I just want to be able to feel like it is a collaborative relationship versus it being, oh, you're just, because I'm not just one thing. I would like to exist as more than that from here forward. Hence why give a fuck about a job, man. Let's create.
How did you get into the industry?
Ooh.
Like what's the...
I want to touch on this as well.
Like, because you said you started working at 18.
Ish, yeah.
When did you start dancing?
18.
And I said you started dancing at 18.
Yeah,
and
that's
started
what I was
working
like,
at
did you say
19 and a
working
half,
or dancing?
19, 20. Like,
Wow.
how did you go from... So your first ever class was at 18?
Never took classes. So I've danced
to the streets.
Facts. You know what I'm saying?
Little Kim.
You know
So
what I'm saying?
step up
We're going to
again.
do this for Lil Saint. Just want to throw that out there. I started dancing at a young age, just feeling like movement. My dad loved funk music. I wasn't allowed to listen to R&B and funk music in the house because my mom is very religious.
Right.
So no secular music in the house at all, just gospel music.
Oh, wow.
So I would play the drums in the house. I would be in church, like playing the drums. Like I have that in my spirit. Like I have music in my soul. So I've always been around like movement, playing sports. I played basketball from 5 and I played baseball and baseball until I was about 15. And then I played basketball until I was around 18. I was 17, turning 18. And I used to battle when I was a little younger in North Carolina. I grew up in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Not a lot of people know that necessarily, but that's home roots. Like I grew up there. And then I moved to Atlanta when I was 17 to finish my high school career. And I say that I was raised in North Carolina, but I grew up in Atlanta because Atlanta will change you. Like it will give you some
That's
tough
what
skin.
molded your character.
Yes, 1,000%. And that's where a lot of my swagger came from as far as my dance presentation. I developed myself there.
Sorry,
you go.
There you go. I can always spot a dancer when they're from Atlanta.
It's a posture,
That's
man.
fact. Yeah.
So
that's
Kyle,
true.
me and Kylin, who obviously you know from Usher, we spoke about like the difference between dance in the States and the dance in the UK. And we'll go back to what you're saying.
Yeah.
But in the States, I feel like you're allowed to move in a specific way because it kind of represents where you're from. Like we can look at a dancer and be like, oh, you trained in New York. You know what I mean? We can look at a dancer and be like, oh, you're an LA like class dancer. We can be like, oh, you're from Atlanta and you're from Chicago. Like we can kind of see the movement styles. Whereas when you come to the UK, you have no idea where anyone's from.
Machine.
Because we're all told that you have to be this way, and we all
And you all
train.
moved to London.
Yeah, and everyone moves to London. Yeah. Basically, a lot of people move to LA. It's still the same thing, but here I feel like we lose our DNA of a dancer of where we started.
Well, that's
Whereas-
where agency and like individual creatives align and they make the industry that.
Yes, whereas in the States, but I also think where you have more job opportunities, so there's more choreographers, so their identity represents. Like, you know, you have a Jaquel and an Ackerman and a Bankhead who are all from Atlanta, right? But they
Yes.
all have their own
Oh,
thing.
1,000%.
But then that trickles down to, you know, I can see the AJ in you.
In me.
And in Marv. And then I can see the Jaquel in Bankhead and like Diddy.
Well, kind of
Well,
like because
but you know what I'm saying? It's like
similar neighborhoods, but you get that's what you're saying is the individuality is accepted more.
yes.
And that's what most mainstream commercial artists in the States look for. Whereas my opinion here in the UK, when Brian Friedman came to live here, that changed the dynamic of the UK. And I had wind of it because he's jazz funk, but so many other things because that man is nasty.
Can do anything.
Anything. But, you know, you have people who were younger who trained with him and trained under him while he was living here, who now, not to say run the industry, but they're in quite senior positions to where, you know, they are more on the creative side and it's not too much room for any younger opportunities to come through the doors necessarily. Again, no offense to any of this, it's just my opinion from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, that's why you're here, bro.
Okay? Hence the commercial style. I've never heard that commercial was a style of dance.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Your
That
pet
doesn't
peeve.
make sense.
My pet peeve, bro.
Do you think there's in America, and this might be a very ignorant comment, there's more dance outside of studios? Like in UK, in my mind, there isn't much of a street dance
Because
scene.
it rains every day.
Because it rains every day. Do you know what I mean? Like,
It's the only place to be.
Well,
like
it's
there is
very-
a scene, but I don't think it's as big as like in percentage terms as there is in
Well, it's kind of like
America.
you said. He's like, it's just opportunity. Like the doors are a lot wider in the States as far as you can be considered a popper in the States and literally
And make
just
a
stay
like
with the
you can be
popping
Mad
community.
Chad and just make a living
Popping because
right.
commercially, hence a genre of film and entertainment, not dance. You can go in a commercial route and say, I want him to hold my cell phone doing his specialty. That's
Right.
like any fight artist who can get put in a film to be a double for an actress. It's just a larger pool, I guess. And some producers, some directors like change because, again, the machine just moves forward in the States. The machine moves forward here. It's just its own pot. You can't. It is what it is. Like that's when you come to the States, you got to adapt. I'm not gonna come to the UK and say bad things about the UK. because I'm not accepted in some way to choreograph, to do whatever, which in some cases at the beginning of the pandemic, I did feel that way, to be honest. But then now I get it, because I'm coming into your living room. I'm not from here. I got to learn what you do. I have to learn what you guys do here. I have to show that my movement can move in your community, because this ain't my shit.
Yeah.
I have to tailor myself to adapt. And if I want to do that, I will. And if I don't want to do it, I won't.
Let's roll back 17, 18.
Yeah.
Sorry,
got you.
I
No
was super
stress.
sidetracked, but it's like I needed to
No,
pick
it's all
your...
good. All good. We can do this again. Like I like talking, man. Obviously, I've been in here chatting up. But yes, so moved to Atlanta when I was 17. I moved out of the house when I was 17. So at that time period in North Carolina, I had been battling in nightclubs, battling with radio stations and shit. Me and some friends of mine in the neighborhood, we used to just dance in my driveway, in the reflections of my mom and dad's car in my garage.
Dope.
On some You Got Served shit. We went to see You Got Served together, and that was the fuck it. It's like, oh my God, I want to do this. Can you do that in slow motion? No. But at that point, we had started at like high school talent shows and such, and neighborhood talent shows, just because I didn't live in the best area at first. So they were creating opportunity for us to just stay out of trouble, hence sports and, recreation centers and all that stuff. So when I moved to Atlanta, I needed money. I moved out. I had a little savings from a lawn service that I had, and I got me a little one-bedroom apartment, had a little trash-ass car, and I was finishing high school. So in that, I would go to a nightclub called ATL Crunk.
Sounds like a TV show.
It does.
On MTV.
Exactly. I mean, damn near close to it. If you if you would have had a camera in there, it would have felt the same. I promise you. So ATL Crunk was a nightclub in Atlanta at a point in time. The Jump Off was a teen club that I used to pass out flyers for DJ Southern Bread, and I'm still friends with him to this day. And him and his girl at the time, Leah Love, they used to come to my high school and pass out flyers. But then I was during the summer, my first summer there, I was at this church camp wrangling kids. And I used to just make them dance and, have fun, whatever, just keep them entertained. This guy was like, yo, you gotta come with this bomb squad, man. They dance in these nightclubs, they get paid. I was like, cool, I need another check. So take me to the rehearsal, and I'll show them what I got. And at this time, I'm battle mentality. Like, I'm confident that I'm good. Not good at all. I'm decent. So from that point, it went from somebody seeing me dance at a camp that I was working at, getting with this dance crew called the Bomb Squad, which was an ATL Crank, which is a dance style in Atlanta that everybody should know. Old school, new school. Kids still today understand what it is, even if they're not doing it all the way right. Went from that into a nightclub. And in that nightclub, I danced for $150 as a go-go dancer. Not in the underwear and all that shit, but like literally. You know what I'm saying? Okay, like, cool.
That was me. I got you.
You know what I'm saying? So it was just to get the party started at the beginning of the club night. Give me a little bit of alcohol here and there. Give me $150 for the night. Do another club on Sunday. A mentor of mine saw me in the nightclub and was like, yeah, so meet me at this studio and let's see what happens. I said, well, I don't know you, so I got to work at Dunkin' Donuts at the time as well. So I had a couple jobs. Graduated high school. He says, cool, meet me at this spot. I get off work. I said, I'll meet you after I get out of work, blah, blah, blah. Walk in the studio. He introduced me to Carrie Hilson at first. And he said...
Casual.
Right. And it's a friend of his. I didn't know who he was necessarily. I was at this place called the Artist Factory as well. So it was a lot of stuff happening at one time. The city is boiling. Me and Jaquel and Sean are rehearsing in a friend of ours, Tiffany Burgess' basement. So I go from high school to work. I would pick Jaquel up from school sometimes to then go to Sean's house to kick it with him, to then go to Tiffany's house for the weekend to dance in her basement. Meanwhile, I'm at the nightclub trying to make a check that's an hour away from my actual apartment and have no gas money to get anywhere, so I'm low-key riding on fumes. Go from that, go in the studio with my homeboy now, and he introduces me to Carrie Hilson. First day, it's just me and her and him in the studio. He turns on a song from Shock Value on Timberland's album. It hasn't come out yet. And I'm like, okay, cool. He said, just freestyle to this. And I heard the song on like not Dat Piff, but on Napster or some shit. And I'm like, okay, I knew this. I freestyled to it, lyrics, it's my style. He's like, cool. You're gonna come back tomorrow. and we're gonna do this again. Then when I came back, Jamaica Craft walks in. And she's like, okay, let me.
What is the story?
Why Wales?
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm mixing the story up just a little bit. Let me backtrack for 2 steps. We go to Carrie first. I meet her. A couple days that we do that before Jamaica comes in, Al Jamal, which is the guy, one of my mentors, because I have 3 of them. He takes me to the Artist Factory where I was already doing sessions at, just dancing. And it's with Ciara, because he's still dancing for Ciara at the time. And he's trying to get out of the dance scene, and he's transitioning into other things. He says, come into this rehearsal. If you can learn these steps, I'll let you take my spot. I said, I don't know what that means, because I'm new. I don't know what that means. I've never done an 8 count. I've never done any choreography.
You've never been taking a class?
Nothing.
So your pickup speed's probably shit.
And you're telling me I got to learn 13 songs in 3 days. What?
And you've never taken class?
Not a single nothing.
Okay.
But I didn't get that at first. As I look back on my career, I notice those things now. But these creatives in these positions are not going to just say, here, this is what it is, just do that and you're straight. It's like, so I'm telling you that I'm going to give you this glass, but are you going to reach for it first before I get to that stopping point? So in this rehearsal, I'm in the room with Rio Henderson. He's choreographing a little bit, and he's about to go on the tour as well. You got Vic Damone, you got Brittany Perry Russell. Jamaica's in there, Ciara's in there, and Al Jamal looks at me. He says, when the music comes on, dance, and don't stop fucking dancing until the music turns off. I said, all right, cool. Again, I got that battle mentality. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, I'm about to wreck house in this shit. Y'all are professionals, so am I. No, I'm not. Because y'all can do steps, I can't. They turn the music on, and Ciara is in the corner next to this pillar, and Jamaica comes in and she gives me a little light hug. She says, hey, I'm Jamaica, you know, whatever, blah, blah. She goes in the corner.
And I love that you probably didn't know who that was, did you?
I thought she was Tanisha Scott.
Oh.
Because there was a commercial on MTV where Tanisha Scott is explaining dance in a dance studio, but they had a similar vibe because they both had wavy hair. They're both short, very curvaceous women, and they're both chocolate. And I love that woman at that time period. I'm like, girl, okay. When I tell you, I'm single at the time, so I'm like, if I see you, I'm gonna touch you, okay? Ladies, I don't do that without permission. And I'm also married now, so I don't do that at all.
Disclaimer. Or without permission.
Yes, without permission on her end. But at the same token, she turned the music on, and I go crazy. I'm going crazy in the corner, just dancing. The dancers are stretching, and Ciara's not even looking. But then next thing you know, she turns and she looks. They turn off the music. I stop. Al Jamal daps me up. And Ciara says, come here, do that again. I was like, do what? She was like, do this step. And she kind of mimicked it. And we're the same age.
Right. She's
getting out of high school as I'm out of high school. So I'm looking at her like, oh, I'm about to give you rounds. What? And we went back and forth before rehearsal started with everybody. Went back and forth a couple rounds, and I was showing her some shit, and she just eating my steps up. And I'm like, yo, I ain't ever, nobody's ever done my shit like me before. And she was close. And after that moment, I didn't get the job because I didn't understand what was happening. And then he took me back to Carrie. And in that, I started working with her a little bit more, and then Jamaica walks in, and she's like, cool, I want you to put together a couple of steps for this tour that they're about to go on. And I choreographed with her and Othan and a few others, but I was never in the room with those other starlights. I just was assisting Jamaica. She was teaching me the game, and I didn't know that that's what was happening. A lot of these opportunities that I got with these creatives, I didn't understand at the time period. I understand way more now, and as my career has gone forward, what was happening. And I hope that I can pass a torch the same way they did. I went from that. Sorry, I'm being long-winded.
No,
I'm so invested. You're so invested. Keep going. Don't stop talking.
Got you. So I went from
that. Stop talking when the light turns off.
Got you. So I went from that moment to just being with Jamaica for 6 months. In that process, we're still with Carrie, and she's introducing me to just other people, and we're in the studio together, and I'm just dancing around and all this stuff, and they're just investing energy in me. Still at the Artist Factory trying to figure it out. She goes on tour with Ciara, or they go on tour, and I don't hear from her. Al Jamal's out on the road, so they're on a world tour for Evolution of Me, if that's the name of the album, I forget, or The Evolution of Ciara, something like that. So it goes from that to, in one of the Carrie rehearsals, on one of the breaks that they had, Al Jamal brings me in and he's talking, and I'm doing something on the floor, and he's like, that the girls are not going to do that step. Not that they can't do it, they're just not going to do that step. I said, okay, cool. He said, you know who you need to be dancing for or you need to be walking with? I said, who? He was like, Usher. I said, get the fuck out of here. He was like, no, for real. I said, if you can make that happen, you tell that man I'll dance for $50 a show. And he looked at me with the soul of the devil and said, you will never, ever say that to anybody else. And you won't say that in front of anyone. I don't want to hear you say that ever again. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
Got my ass handed to me for what? Why? What did I say? I'm
was
being for
helping.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah, like pay me $50. I will get the fuck up there and go off. Because at that point, I'm not really making any money in these rehearsals because I'm just getting into the game at the time period. And I'm not savvy business-wise on...
You're on an apprenticeship, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I was there as a fucking assistant. Like, get your coffee, I'll get your water, like whatever you need, learn that step. I'll tell them what you need me to tell them, whatever it is. And that's what I was learning, right? From that point, I go back to Dunkin' Donuts. It's like 6 months later, no dance, just nightclub still, Dunkin' Donuts, battles here and there. Al Jamal hits me up, hey, meet me at J-Pat. And J-Pat is a famous studio in Atlanta that Usher's mom and him started. But I didn't know that at the time period because promotion for these things, YouTube wasn't a thing yet. No social media besides MySpace and like Black Planet and fucking before Facebook just started and shit. You know what I'm saying?
And
it
he's
wasn't
not in
even
my
called-
top 10 friends.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not in your top 8. We don't like each other anymore. Like, so it got to that point where he said, come to that studio. Literally walk into one of the side studios after work. It's like 5, 6 in the afternoon. Aquaman Jones is sitting in the corner holding sage and burning it. And he gets up and I walk through the door and I look to my right and Usher is in the corner next to the fucking stereo laughing. He's just like giggling. The fuck you laughing at? And you're fucking Usher. And I'm kind of like, I'm panting at this point. Like, I'm kind of like, not anxiety, but I'm just like excited. Like, don't be a fanboy. Don't freak out.
Be cool, man.
Because
Just glide over.
Fact. But that's what's happening. AJ gets up and he's fucking gliding over. And with sage in his hand, and he puts the sage out in his hand. And I look at him and I'm like, you're the dude from the Aaliyah music video. Where's your hair?
He looks at me. This line.
Wow.
Yeah, swear. Swear. No over-exaggeration. I lie to you not. Al Jamal puts his hand on my shoulder, and you won't even know who these people are probably that I'm naming in some cases, but they are OGs to
should.
the industry. You should.
Yeah.
He puts his hand on my
AJ.
shoulder. He goes, chill. I'm like, calm down. I said, sorry, I recognize him, and I was copying him. Didn't even know who he was. And didn't know who I was meeting. And I already moved like him and Marty at the time period. Because fucking Justified had been out for a while at that point. And this is like years later. This is before he put out Future Sex. So I'm still looking at old music videos that I've recorded and I'm copying their steps. I didn't know that don't be so quick to walk away. That breakdown, I was taking movement from that. I was taking movement from Usher shit. I was taking movement from Aaliyah. And I was doing my own thing with it. And I'm freestyling at the same time. So that was my study habit. And I'm very good at study with movement and knowledge from movement. So AJ puts the shit out, wipes his hand off, he shakes my hand, says, what's up, I'm AJ. He gives me a CD at the time, and it's only 8 songs on the CD, but it's unreleased Usher music.
Man.
And he goes, it's track 6. Looks me dead in my face. It's track 6. If I hear 5 or 7, you're fired. This is your shit. Exact words I said. He's like, this your shit. I mean, whatever you need, it's your shit. I'm happy to be in the room, G. He goes, word up, I like how that sounds. That's cool. Well, there's a studio in that corner. Go in the studio, just create a hook. The hook is at this timestamp. Very intelligent. It's at this timestamp. I said, okay, cool. I put the shit together in like 15 minutes. Full double hook. What's your name, baby? What's your number? Off of Here I Stand album. And they were doing it for this NFL football opening thing. This is me assisting. I'm not head choreographing anything. I am choreographing, and they pick and choose what parts they want to use in that light. And for that particular performance, funny story, I'm in the room, I do it, and I just open the door, and I come out. Him and Usher are workshopping. They're producing for the tour, just them two, and they're sweating like shit. Al Jamal is on his phone. He's in the corner doing business because he's a businessman and shit. He looks at me. He's like, what you doing? I was like, I'm done. He's like, go back in the room, practice it. I was like, nah, I'm straight. I'm also rough around the edges. So I'm speaking like we all boys, like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm good. Nah, we straight. I ain't got to go back in there and rehearse. I'll give you rounds too, like whatever. And he's like, motherfucker, go back in the room because they're working. I'm like, no, I'm done. They stop the music. AJ looks at me and he's like, what's up? I said, I finished. He said, Aljamal, can you just go look at it? And I was like, okay, go back in the room. I show him. He looks at it. He says, wait a second, stay in here. He leaves out the room. The music stops in the other room. And they're quiet for like 5 minutes. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And if I open this door, I feel like I'm gonna get my ass kicked. So I don't think that I should do this. I don't think I should do this. I crack the door. And as soon as I'm cracking the door to open it, AJ walks in. I'm like, okay, cool. He says, let me see it. And I've stolen movement. But the way that I've put things but it's like 1 or 2 moves that I've taken that AJ already knows, because when he danced with Justin, I didn't know that was him in the My Love video and in the fucking all that shit. And the Aaliyah step that I used, I didn't know that he was a part of that shit outside of that music video I saw him in. And those 2 textures, I now remember, he took those out, but everything else was original me. Man. It was all my shit. And of course, a double hook is a minute or less, like 45 seconds.
And you did it in 15 minutes.
And I did it in 15 minutes because I can still choreograph off the top of my head. Sometimes in classes, I will choreograph my class in class just based on the vibe. And if I'm really fucking with the song, and that comes from practice with Jamaica. Jamaica will make you that creative as well. When you get to that high vibration, it's just happening. At any moment, an artist could say, I don't like that shit. Change it. Right in rehearsal with 20 dancers. And you're in the room and you got 5 minutes of a break to produce something so that we can keep rehearsals going. And if you don't deliver, then that means to get you kicked out of that motherfucker. Like, you gotta be on it. So in this light, AJ comes in the room, he looks at it, he says, do it again. I did it like 4 or 5 times. He says, wait 1 second. They both leave. Another 5 minutes goes by, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck is going on? It's almost like midnight at this point, because I've been there all day just kind of chilling. And he says, all right, Usher comes in. He says, all right, little motherfucker, let me see it. I hear it's good. Well, you heard right, I think? I hope. Play the music, he says, and he just walks out. I'm having a fucking panic attack at this point. I was like, yo, what the fuck is happening? Am I here to stay? Like, am I fired? What's going on? AJ comes in, he talks to me, he's like, what you did was good. I like it a lot. I'm gonna take this out, I'm gonna take this out. And he put his own movement there. And he danced with me for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And then whatever he added and I put in, he produced, and then he put it in the show. And it evolved with the movement of the stage and all that shit. And I was just learning by watching it on TV from home. Got no credit, because I just was assisting in the moment. But it was also my apprenticeship. So I didn't know those things anyway. Now the game is different. If you assist or if you put any steps on anything, somebody's quick to say, I'm a choreographer. Wrong. Anyways, but in that moment, that started the relationship with me and Ak, to where he would just ask me to come up to the studio and he would just put choreography on me. And that's how I learned how to do 8 counts. That's how I learned how to do choreography. I learned how to create it. I learned texture. I learned how to learn it. I learned how to perform to some degree. I developed my style based off of him saying, do this, learn this. You want to approach it like this. He molded me just as well as Jamaica did, just as well as Aljamal did, just as well as a Sean Bankhead and a Jaquel, because I'm training with them, not their steps, but we're developing our styles around each other. As far as like, we're just in the same space. We taking class from each other. The city of Atlanta didn't have a lot of dance opportunity yet. It was happening, but there's a lot of music. So there's a lot of development happening. So all of these things that I just explained were happening to me. Meanwhile, Jaquil is going through his thing. Sean is going through his thing. Jasmine Beatty, who is JB, is doing her thing. We're all in high school, leaving high school, some going to college, trying to figure out what the next steps of life are, but I'm the only one who just started working. I auditioned for Usher, didn't get it. I auditioned for Usher 4 times, didn't get it until like the 5th time and I didn't even have to audition the 5th time. I had just been working with AJ for a couple of years at that point, and I just started getting facial hair. I started gaining a little weight, and that's when a lot of other things start taking shape as far as movies and some commercial opportunities and me getting with Block. I was with Block in 2006 in Block South. So Nefertiti Robinson, which is Fatima Robinson's sister, was my agent, and a friend of hers, which is Cindy Schneider, who owned Dance 411.
Fatima's sister was an agent of Block?
Yeah, but in the South, it was Block South. So they started in 2006. Chuck Maldonado did our audition.
And that makes so much sense why Fatima is like Team Block.
1,000%.
You know what I mean? Like
they all started it together, I think.
It makes sense. Like you put the pieces of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, you look at the early 2000s. All of them, Rich and Tone, Jamaica, Swoop, AJ, Punch, Goofy, all of these dancers, they all came in around the same time. Fatima is one of the ones, and Frank Gatson are one of the ones that opened the doors. Jamal Sims are some of the ones that opened the doors for the opportunity of high finance, like your Jamie Kings and all that stuff, but on a more urban commercial end.
Yeah,
the names
as opposed to
I named,
the pop, jazz, funk culture.
Exactly.
Because Jamie King's like the high-end creative pop, jazz, funk.
1,000.
Brian Freeman, Britney Spears-esque.
Meanwhile, you got the Marty who's in that realm as well at the time period.
Yeah, doing Pink,
Exactly.
Mariah, like hopping in that
But
world.
harnessing his own style, hence what I did in the room when AJ was molding me and Jamaica was molding me. Just as far as movement goes, Jamaica was more my mindset at an early time, and then she made me a star, whereas AJ refined that and gave me more of a confident like walk. Because the mental approach from both of them, you can't beat that.
Yo, you like were like, I don't want to say molded, but like polished by two of like
The most elite.
the like
Mad.
like
Mad.
like
Crazy,
Sir Alex
yeah.
Ferguson and Arsene Wenger. Like in like soccer, football
legit.
terms.
Okay.
Like it couldn't get any better.
And what's
Yeah.
mad is you went from just being being a battler to
Just straight.
like putting
That's
stamps
it.
on
Yeah.
Usher. Within, like,
And I got a
year.
story about my first job. My first real dance job was Stomp the Yard.
Was
Yeah,
it?
I wanted to say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I snuck into that audition.
Dude, I
Yeah.
You snuck in.
That's how I got my
love
agent.
that film.
Let's go.
Because Cindy and Neff were running the audition, and me and Neo had a moment actually, because he was in the film. Obviously, we know that,
Yeah.
and he was top 10 with 4 singles on the top 10 106 in Park at the time because he put out Because of You.
Yeah.
So that album is doing crazy numbers at the time. Dave Scott and Chuck Maldonado are choreographing the movie, and it's at the Artist Factory where I am working at the time. Hence, that whole story I just gave you, all of this is happening at the same time. Everything is happening at the same time. A friend of mine, Oso Crispy, who is the third member of TLC, after Lisa passed, I was dancing with her. We were sessioning. I was again at the nightclub. I'm meeting all these industry people at this nightclub.
Crazy, man.
And she goes, well, I got an audition I'm going to in the morning. You want to go? I think you need an agent. I was like, what the fuck is an agent? She was like, it's the person that gives you work. Cool. Well, hopefully they can give me a job. It's like, well, you have to have one in order to go into the audition. I said, I'm showing up anyway. I pull up, Cindy and Nefer in the front. I have on a beanie with a bill on the front of it, like a New Yorker's bill hat. And I have on this big ass thermal and a white T-shirt that goes to my knees under it, some beat up ass gray sweatpants and felines. I look like a snap boy straight up from Atlanta, like country boy, nothing, just rough, right? Hair's long. Go into the door. They said, if you don't have an agent, you got to go home. Now, I work at the Artist Factory at this point. I'm doing an internship there as well. The studio that they're using is the studio that I practice in at this point. Very small.
Like, this is my yard.
This is my yard, bitch. Like, the fuck? So Nefertiti looks at me and she's like, you're cute. I was like, so are you. Not knowing that she's a little bit older than me, and I'm just being silly anyway. I'm very charismatic. But she goes, well, you don't have an agent. You can't audition. I'm sorry. So you have to leave. I said, okay, you're not even going to see me like, you don't want to see me dance? She was like, no. Excuse me. She's like, no, it's just we have a timestamp, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, I see Neo walk through, and I was like, there's a back hallway. There's another entrance. Got it. And I see Dave Chappelle, Dave Scott pull up. He walks in the door. Hey, Neff, what's up, Cindy? Give a kiss, go into the room. You hear music blaring everywhere. A line of guys. You hear stepping happen in some locations. I didn't see Chuck, but there's a room that's in the back that had a few starlights in it that are in the movie, some producers, directors. And I think that they based my audition on the scene in the movie. They will never tell you this. It's just my opinion, but I feel like this is what happened. Anyways, I go around the side which is the front entrance, and I go in that way. I know the assistant at the front desk. Hey, what's up? Natalie, whatever your name is, how's it going? I'm just gonna go to the bathroom, and I'm gonna come back out. You know, she's like, yes, audition happening in the back. Just don't go all the way down the hallway, blah, blah, blah. If you can, just go as far as the break room. That's like, cool, got it.
Gotcha.
I go back there anyway. As soon as I go around the corner, I can see Cindy and Neff still letting people in the door that they just kicked me out of, and their backs are to me. So I'm walking straight, and then I'm doing like hand tutting, like this bullshit, just practicing as I'm walking down the hallway. Because I'm like, let me warm up, because I'm about to go in here and lay everybody out. Again, I'm about to give you rounds. Dave Scott was like, are you auditioning? I was like, yeah. He was like, just go in that room right there, which is the studio that I practice in. I was like, okay, cool, no problem. I shoot in that room so fast, get in there, and I'm warming up, I'm stretching. It's a bunch of guys, like some dudes are on the floor. I was like, okay, I can break a little bit. He's breaking, I'm gonna steal that shit. Okay, cool, you're popping. I'm better at popping than you. Cool, I'm gonna get your ass. I'm thinking the audition process is a battle. It is technically, but I'm thinking we about to go round.
This is me at auditions.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's like, we're friends, but I'm gonna wear your ass out. So in that, Neo walks in and I'm practicing and he looks at me, he was like, yo, how you do that with your fingers? And I teach him this and he's like, okay, cool. He was like, well, come with me. It's like, okay. And he just walks me into the room.
Dude, you're life, man.
It's the craziest shit. That's why I said I have no control over what's happened in my career. I didn't dream of this. I've had dreams of pointing at lights. Literally, I've had dreams about being in a room that has built itself over time. It didn't have a floor in the beginning. It didn't have an audience in the beginning. It just had lights, and I was doing this. Mm-hmm. But then over time, the room was black, and then there was flooring, and then the flooring would change. So over time, there has been dreams that have happened in my life that have pushed me toward entertainment, and I've always been around music, always loved movement, and I can do them easily. So like I said, it's just God, man, higher power, high vibration. I just don't, at a time period, I didn't allow the negativity to embrace my spirit. Like it didn't sit in my spirit until I told you with the pandemic, a few things started to change because I've been in the game for a while and there's positions that you want to be in. And then I start dreaming of positions I want to be in and not being there quite yet at that time period. And even to date, all of us are still wanting to evolve and be who we're going to be at the highest level of our being. You get what I'm saying? But in that moment, you know, I found another bit of my starlight, just being able to walk into rooms without permission. Mm-hmm. And from that point on, I was like, I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to walk in this room. I'm going to walk in this room. If that door is cracked, I'm going to put my foot through it. Mm-hmm. Usher also told me this, one of the last interactions we had. He was rehearsing for the Remy Martin commercial that they just put out last year. We're leaving rehearsal. He says, there's a gate outside of Live Art. Mm-hmm. And the car area is closed because COVID, they had classes outside and shit. There's 2 doors on the sides. One of them was locked and the other one was not. My door was not locked, but I didn't check it. I just watched Ush and he couldn't open the door. So I was like, oh, this door is locked. I'm gonna go inside and I'm gonna get somebody to come unlock it so we can leave. He says, don't move yet. Did you check the door? I was like, nah. And he looked at me as he touches the handle. He said, now the difference between us and them is that we open doors. And he just walked through the fucking door. I said, you're an asshole. Because that was fucking great. He says, the difference between us and them is that we're not fearful of a closed door. We literally open it. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to open the door. Hence why I was not too scared after a point to be here in the UK. Because I'm going to get what I'm going to get.
What are you going to get?
Whatever comes to my table, like whatever it is, like I would like to be working creatively here with the starlights of this city. But due to lack of acceptance of change, and that's an industry thing, that's not an individual thing. I just think that my time will be up here before that opportunity presents itself fully. And that is coming to an end because I will be leaving the UK soon, sadly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you've just like made all our hearts melt and then crushed them. Like,
I don't know when yet, but
is that just off a feeling, or is there like logic behind this?
It's logic. Yeah, there's logic. There's a few things with the home base that I am going to have to get back to. And I won't be able to be here and there at the same time in order to accomplish those things, sadly.
What is it you think about yourself that made all these industry icons gravitate towards you?
I was going to ask the same question.
Because like, it's obviously not by coincidence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like one times maybe, but like
once,
repeat.
but it's
twice. But like, I don't know about the viewers or the listeners. Like, you might not be as educated on dance culture, but like every single person you've named is a somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
more
from
than-
someone who's done like, I've done dance homework like motherfuckers have done doctors PhDs 5 times over. Like, and all of the people that you name is like, as a dancer from here, let alone imagine being in the States or maybe from where you're from, like they're all people that we would die to get in front of.
Oh, yeah.
Just to spend half an hour with, to
Oh,
be
yeah.
like, watch me dance, fix this. What is it do you think that you have that made them gravitate towards you? Because it's not like you were seeking the opportunity.
It just was
So
happening.
it's as
crazy.
if they were seeking you.
That's how it happens. You first, I would say high vibration. It is a higher power that I can't explain. I'm a believer in God, and I don't have any judgments to pass on anyone's beliefs, but I do believe in a higher power. I think that is the gist of it. But I also, again, I'm a study rat, and I know I'm very detailed, and I love to put my own personality on things that exist, because at an early time, I understood that Van Gogh is a real thing. Research him and you'll understand what I'm saying. Like, this bottle cap is blue. I'm gonna do the same bottle, but my bottle cap's green. It's the same thing. I just changed the personality of it. So I was great. I'm still great at doing that. I am great at doing that. And I think I ran in a lane of my own as far as club dances. I took the snap movement, Pool Palace, which is the walk it out, the futuristic time period of the unsit music of the mid of the 2010s. I was able to create a look and be open enough to accept what they wanted to give with no judgment. I think things are whack, but I won't say right off the bat, that's trash. I try to find a different perspective of how it can be approached so that we can make it as fly as it can be. And that's all they ask for in these rooms is, how can you make me fly?
So you were taking you're observing elements of them and then putting
My own
your
texture
flavor
on it.
to it.
And they don't move that way. Not to say they can't. They might not have approached it mentally the same way that I did. And that was where I think at a time period I was in high demand for my movement, for the way I approach things, how I hold myself at a high level as well. Like, if you want great things to happen to you, you got to know you're as great as those things. Like, I'm fucking awesome as a person.
There's one thing that I noticed from doing, like, you know, meeting people within our industry, but especially doing the podcast and sitting down and speaking with, like, the elites, like people like yourself, like Anders, who we've had on before. Like, you all have, like, a self-belief and a confidence, which is, like, unshakable. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I noticed. And it's like, I feel like the fact that you don't doubt you doesn't give me the ability to doubt you. You know what I mean? Like, I always use Timo. Timo Steffens.
That motherfucker is
and
confident.
Casper.
Woo, he's
Like,
definitely confident.
And there's a guy here called Jay Ravel.
J. Real is
And I
confident
always say
as fuck.
they're all the same people. They're not, obviously.
Packaged differently.
Packaged
Yep.
differently in different places of the world. And they all have this self-confidence that, yes, granted, they're all exceptionally talented and good at what they do, but they all have this self-confidence that you don't doubt them from the jump.
Because they won't allow you
Because
to
they
do
don't
it.
allow you to doubt them. So you believe it before you even see it. And then they live up to, you know, what they've said. And I feel like you have the same thing.
Yeah, I feel the same. I do have doubts about things. It's just, to the outside, I can't.
I think we all have internal doubts.
1,000, yes, 1,000%.
But we just have a way of disguising it, right?
Well, yes. It depends on what the insecurity is. But I feel that if I'm a leader, which I know I am, because since I was younger, even playing basketball, I was a point guard. That's the leader of the teams, the quarterback, essentially. It's the thing of, I have to trust me strongly enough for you to trust me. Because I know what we're talking about right now, I have facts attached to that shit. Factually, I'm gonna knock you over the head with this baseball bat.
Yeah.
With all the knowledge, all the movement, where it comes from, where it sits, how it feels. If you can't meet me at that level or help me to evolve what that idea is, then you have to trust that I'm telling you something of it's tangible. Like I can create it, you can see it, I can feel it, you can feel it, right? So I want you to meet me at that place. I want to give you that same energy because I don't want to do it alone. I like collaborating. So that unwavering confidence of I am solid in where I sit and I know what I'm talking about just has come with being put in uncomfortable situations over time. Because I've been cussed out in these rooms. I've been told in these rooms, like, you're wrong, and it hurts. I've done things in my career that are very simple of thought, but to put in action, I fucked up. And I learned from those experiences to now when I speak to you guys or anyone to date, I guess I don't need the validation anymore. I don't need to feel like you're okay with me because I'm okay with me. And this can go back into the pandemic conversation about me starting with depression and what I was working on as an individual. It's to see the higher self, see my higher self. Because this has all been done by the grace of higher power, my career. Now I'm moving with a thought of, okay, there's purpose behind why I'm here, why I'm still this creative, why I can still dance. I'm still nimble, I'm still quick. But I'm not as, there's a spark in a 21-year-old that's not the same as someone in their 30s.
Bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Because, and it's not even the
fluid.
knees.
It's called fluid in the knee. That's what I was going to say. It's called fluid in your knees.
But, it's my experience lasts longer than what the youngsters can do now. Like, they have experiences too, but I don't have to go as full out as you are because I have experience. I'm a character. I have mine all together already, and I get on these stages and I showcase that. I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, I appreciate that observation, and I welcome it, man. I'm just open. I'm always open. I like to receive what I can from individuals because you never know what you're going to gain in that situation.
Do you think you'd still have the same confidence if you were dancing for, say, like something maybe, I don't want to say out of your realm because at the
I just
level
did
you're
that
at,
recently, actually.
Yeah, like so say it's for like Richard Squirrel Jackson for Lady Gaga.
I would have loved to have danced for Lady Gaga.
Like giving me some poker face. Are you
1,000.
still feeling the
I'll
same
give you
way?
a monster hand real quick. Hell yeah. I would have loved to have done that. I
Sweet.
wanted to dance for Madonna, but she doesn't like Scorpio, so I don't think I would have got that opportunity.
Okay.
Rewind.
Hey.
She doesn't like
Rumor.
Scorpios.
It's a rumor.
It's a rumor.
Yeah, but I never
hope
auditioned.
I hope it's just a rumor.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
the
yeah.
weirdest shit ever.
Well,
But hey,
she's
you never know. You
She's
never know.
super,
Yeah.
she's super connected in a different way.
You said you just did a job that felt uncomfortable.
So it's a Netflix job that I did with Liam. What's Liam's
Liam
last name?
Lunis?
Yes, he's great.
The Netflix Dancer 100.
Dance 100, yeah. I don't know if that's going to be the name. I don't know because, legally I can't really give any information about as to what it is.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But,
There was just 100 dancers.
yeah, it's 100 dancers.
I
Great.
said, do I need to beep this?
Maybe.
But the opportunity in itself, again, this goes into what commercial movement is here in the UK. It's jazz funk. Jason Derulo's choreography from Kevin Maher was jazz funk at the beginning when me and AJ first got there.
Yes.
So I had to learn jazz funk then. It's not that I can't do it, and it's not that I'm not too comfortable. It's just not my choosing
Yeah,
style.
it's not the choice.
Yeah,
Same.
it's not-
That's where I'm at. It's like I can do it if you need me to, but it's
but
never my
not
first choice.
Facts. But that's where the States comes into play as far as style goes. I don't have to do that. I can go and dance on other jobs that keep me
That's
off
why
of
I
that.
left here. That's why I came there because here you had to do that, and I felt like that was not me at my full potential.
And at that time period, it was just jazz funk here, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know
100%.
that.
No, you are 100% correct.
But now I think they're opening themselves up to more.
Thanks to your J Ravels and your up and coming choreographers, Alice
1000.
Camilla is changing.
That's awesome.
But that was here for a long time. It was like jazz funk was. That's
the
all.
thing.
That's all it was. And my move into the States was because of Amy.
Oh, word up, Amy Allen.
Because when we did
She's
Derulo,
the assistant.
when I auditioned for you for Derulo here in Pineapple,
Oh my God.
because you and Amy took the audition, and there was
Oh, that's crazy.
loads of us.
Yeah, it was a gang of y'all.
And I remember her saying to me, "Why do you still live here if you don't like the dancing?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Move." I was
Peace
like, "Not
out.
that easy." She's like, "Yeah, it is. I'll help." I was like, "Really?"
That's it. All you gotta do is ask.
Really?
Yeah, all you gotta do is ask. Closed mouths don't get fed. Fortune favors the
Hey.
bold.
Hey, nice.
Yeah, fortune favors the bold, man. But it's like, okay, so
So the show, you're
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
no. Yes, I am uncomfortable, but I put myself in that situation on purpose because, like I said before, I left the States with no resistance to have a new experience. After like a month or so, I start to realize I need a new, because I've been doing. So to be asked to do the show without auditioning, thank goodness, I went in. I'm thinking that we're gonna be dancing for the competitors in a certain way, and
I thought you were a competitor on it.
I didn't audition.
Originally, when I found out you were
Yeah.
doing it, I thought you were a competitor due to our people that we both know being competitors on it. I thought you were a competitor.
1,000.
On it as well. Sorry, peeps.
I
Can't tell you.
I don't know if I would compete because I've done a reality show. I did ABDC, America's Best Dance Crew, 5th season, and that dynamic of how the production works and it's the integrity behind our community that I like to keep, that these production companies want to exploit. And that's not a negative. I'm not speaking negatively about it. It's just what it is. That's any reality show, from the Kardashians to Love is
It's a different
Blind.
version of entertainment.
Exactly. And you have to tailor that because it's something that you're looking for, that your consumers want to see, and you have to play to that, right? But I don't like to exploit my community for the gain of finance to some degree. And I'm not saying any individual is doing that, but these production companies are trying to get, a longevity in an idea that they put on the table. Hence creativity, that's your thing, do your thing. But I had to jazz funk. I had to learn some contemporary shit. Like, I love contemporary movement because I incorporated in some of my stuff. I do incorporate like lines, old jazz funk, like Paula Abdul style shit in my choreography from time to time. And that goes into all classical movement, from Fred Astaire, Bob Fosse, Gene Kelly, to Sammy Davis Jr., Gregory Hines. Like, I use all of these things. Nicholas Brothers, Jimmy the Slide. But I'm going to digress a bit because I do have opinions about it, and it's not out yet. And I think everyone did an amazing job on the show and the completing of the show. I can definitely give you that. But it was uncomfortable for me, and I'm glad that I put myself in that situation to, one, see the entire UK community, because everybody was from everywhere. I guess I could say the European community, and that might be too big to put it that way, but I am more appreciative of art because of that opportunity, and I now voice myself as just an artist. I don't just dance. All of these cats that were on this job, here in the UK and here in Europe, everybody still has a job for the most part. I've only had two 9-to-5 jobs before I was 22. I have not worked a 9-to-5 job since I was 22 years old. Meanwhile, that is a luxury here.
Yeah, a big luxury.
You know what I'm saying? So it gave me perspective being on that job. But the movement itself, I was uncomfortable because I had to bounce between a few contestants, and it's different textures in individuals out of the 100 that were there, and I'm learning the dynamics of how the LGBTQ community works here, how the straight community works here, how the women work here. Like, I'm just getting all these different dynamics of what today's industry is.
New.
It's all new. It's all new. And I'm very much so verbally inexperienced in how to articulate myself as to what the experience really was, because I'm still as open as a book to receive what is supposed to be given to me here. And I don't want to steal anything from this place as far as like, okay, I'm going to take this and I'm going to go back to the States and I'm going to use it, I'm going to make all this money. No, it's not that. It's, it was an opportunity that I took, and I'm very thankful that I was a part of it.
Sick.
Yeah.
Okay. If 50-year-old you said 2 sentences to you, what would it sound like?
You done good. That's one. Let's keep going.
Sweet. Both of you can answer this one.
Mm-hmm.
So, mine's not as cool as his. Aliens.
Okay.
Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah.
Aliens come from outer space.
Yes, they
and
do.
They say to each of you individually, you can't collaborate on it. You have to give one representation of dance to us. One being has to be alive to save humanity. And if you give them someone and they don't deem it,
they're gonna destroy the planet.
they don't like the person you give. They're like,
Okay.
nah, whack, meh, meh.
Facts.
Like,
Only one person.
yeah, one, bro.
And do they have to? Can the aliens look through the history of this person?
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Okay, so it's not just one dance. They can't. There's not.
No, they can't go
there's
to be
not
like
an
just
8-8.
like this is only 8/8. It's like you're giving like one representation of dance.
Okay,
You're giving,
representative of
You're,
dance.
yeah, you're
right.
giving like this person like is gonna go and save humanity because of their dance history, ability, whatever you want it to be, whatever that means to you.
And they have to be alive.
So hard.
Yeah,
And
There's
it's
loads of
already
today.
have
It's
an
hard
answer, though.
today.
like Teresa Espinosa gave me Prince, and I accepted it because it was such a random one. But I was like, he's dead,
But
so
no.
it doesn't count.
His
Who,
dancing
Prince?
comes from James Brown and his
But,
own
yeah.
texture.
Yeah.
But he's a musician.
Yeah, but
that performer.
hers was like, because obviously she worked with him, so she's like, when she saw him dance,
Oh,
it
he
was
goes crazy.
like, yeah, and that was her. That moment for her was hers. But I was like, I changed the rules because he's dead, doesn't count.
Oh, 1,000.
Yeah.
yeah, 1,000.
Like, otherwise, everyone's gonna give MJ, and it's not fun.
Yeah, it's
like,
not fun.
otherwise
He's
everyone,
the one.
Everyone goes MJ, and I'm like, cool. Let's
Hey, you
like
know
try
what?
and be
I would
great.
give Chris Brown instead of MJ.
Yeah, I would give.
Just
well,
because it's just like.
Okay,
I'd accept Chris Brown because he'll fuck up the dancers, the
Exactly,
dressers,
exactly.
the poppers,
Exactly.
the turfers,
Martial
Exactly.
artists,
the martial artists, the
Yeah.
painters.
Exactly.
He will fuck up everyone in their own game.
Yeah.
I was
And
gonna
if you
say
can't do it there
Chris.
and then, in a month's time, you will.
1,000%.
Definitely.
Easy, because he's an alien.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah, he's one of them actually.
Exactly.
He's one of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
He's stealing the powers when we give them.
He is the
That's
vessel.
facts, that's
1,000%. You were gonna say Chris?
No, but in this example, but I would say Rich and Tone.
Word up.
That's two people.
Yeah, but like
Okay.
they work as
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
They work as one.
No, like this. Pick one. Can you imagine?
No, never.
Never. Pick a Talawega.
Yeah, facts. Ooh, that's hard though.
Ooh.
That's a hard one. Between the two of them, that's hard.
They both bring different to
yeah.
the table.
They do, but
One brings more footwork, one brings more texture. Like
Yeah.
they're both like,
Exactly.
oh man,
but they're both like
animals.
But they're animals. Like it's the package which makes it right. It's
Exactly.
like they complement
That's
each
right.
other.
They come as one.
They
like-
complement each other
Yeah.
so well.
Shit.
Let's not get into that because I want to interview them and I don't want them to hate me.
Because
I'm gonna make them choose if I ever interview them
those are-
which one's better.
shout out to
wow.
Like-
oh geez.
like to them, if you two battled right now, who would win?
Between what? I have my opinion.
Ooh.
I do.
I have no idea.
But I love the both of them because those are like older. Those are like my brothers. So it's kind
I've
of like
never met them.
they are powerhouses.
They're
for
they're on
sure.
like my bucket list to work for, but just to like observe.
But that's the thing when you observe them, that gel that makes them the Talawega brothers. They're both disgusting because they both were dancing for Michael at 19.
19.
What? Jamie King is another one that was 19. That's rare.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What the fuck?
As rare as giving steps to Usher at 17.
I was
Hey,
19. I was 19.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
19.
18, sorry.
Hey, you
Yeah,
need to boast a
19.
little bit, bro.
Yeah.
That's,
Oh, yeah.
that's
Oh,
a
yeah.
fact. That's a fact. Ah, that's crazy.
That is, you should see both our faces like this the whole
So
time.
yeah, because you know, when you start looking back on that stuff, man, it does start to kind of hit you a little bit. Like, man, that's why I say 50-year-old me, well done. Just keep going.
Bro, I do it all the time. Like, I really, like, the older I've got, and I teach a lot of students, a lot of students who want to do this for a living, and I'm like, they're so fortunate for the opportunity that they have and the potential things that they get in front of them that I would have died for. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
yo, if I can make it from the resources that I've had,
It's easy.
you've got
Yeah.
no excuse.
At
It's
all.
so easy for kids
It's
these
easy.
days.
Yeah, it's
so easy.
hard. It's hard because there's so many.
Yeah, of course.
But information is key. All you have to do now is be disciplined.
Yep, that is a
Then
fact.
open Google.
Yeah,
Okay.
just be disciplined now.
YouTube
And
University.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's facts.
Yeah.
I still haven't given my entity.
I was going to say,
yet.
No,
who's your
no,
answer?
no. Come on.
I mean, it's not even because he's out right now, but it is Chris. And I say that because through his career, he's gone through a few choreographers and creative directors, but there's been an essence that changes with what happens to him in life. He's responsible for creating the new industry when everybody turned their backs on him. As far as, you know, he has a domestic, you know, situation on his tag that has been hard to get off his shoulders. It's not gone, but the generation doesn't necessarily care as much
As they did.
because
Because
our
before-
generation was like, no, that's fucked up. It is 1,000%. He knows it. He's changed. Evolution is taking place. But
He's not the same person.
Not at all. It's in there. He's still one of them. Like, you know, he's an alien for sure. I say that because his discipline comes out like a Basquiat.
What's a Basquiat?
Basquiat, Jean-Michel Basquiat. He's an artist.
No.
You've seen the paintings where it looks like a kid drew it.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
all
yeah,
scratched in it.
No, but
It's
definitely
like,
Google it after.
so there's a documentary on what is his name? He was responsible.
How do you
for
spell the
pop
name?
culture. It's Jean
Hold on. Let me sign.
Jean-Michel or John Michael Basquiat.
John Michel is his real name. We like Western it up with John Michael.
Yeah,
You know?
it's either Michelle or Michael. I forget. But I just call him Basquiat because that's the urban culture version of that shit, I guess. Andy Warhol has a documentary on that's him. Andy Warhol is the white guy with the blonde, the gray hair.
Oh.
He's responsible for some of the first bits of pop culture in social media for his time period. So tabloids to the Campbell soup cans, the chicken soup. You've seen the one where it's like a bunch of cans on a painting?
Yes.
That's him. He's responsible for pop art, like pop culture art, not like literal like pop colors. Like it is colors, but he's the one who did the colorful screen printing of faces.
Yeah.
The same face, but
Yeah.
one's red, one's green. So that's Andy Warhol. Watch that documentary on Netflix. It's amazing. But I say Chris is like Basquiat because he can create, as I can, in chaos. You need loud music. You need a bunch of inspiration around you. You need games. You need women. You need like.
That's why I've seen
music, like-
snippets of his house, and it's like
It's a
fucking-
playground.
It's like carnage. It's like
It is.
It's like a museum of crazy things in color.
It is,
Like
and
when
you
you see
need
it
that.
online, like you see him like if he does like an Insta story live, it's like just big, huge art pieces everywhere with a basketball hoop and
Yep.
like just
Yep, and go
like
to
a
his
pinball
backyard.
machine, and you're like, what the fuck?
Like he just needs it to stay stimulated.
Yeah.
ADD. He's just like, okay, I do this. He's flipping, and then he's talking about an idea, and then he's on the floor, and then he's got kids now, and then he's talking about music, and he's producing, and he's in the studio, and then he goes on tour, and does all of that on tour. What the fuck?
You're like,
You're so fast. How? What? That's when I became an artist. When I got on that job, the party tour changed my perspective on being creative. He spray painted on his black tour bus a woman putting on stockings, smoking a cigarette.
Just out of
And he had
pure
Goku's
randomness.
head, the alien's head, and like I think Superman's head, but the eyes were white and the faces were like warped. It's fresh as fuck. But he's creating the art on his tour bus. On the outside of his house, I don't know if it's like this now because I haven't been over there in a while, but he had figures that he's collaborated with artists, like spray painting, where they're looking inside his windows. That shit is fucking ill. If that's not inspiring, like to see someone use their brain at that level and to be able to morph with time into anything. That's why I say he would be the example of going from a child star who's just groovy, that's a pocket. You go from a pocket to being able to impersonate and execute a Michael Jackson
tribute show
to T with funk, sauce, texture, integrity.
to perfection.
You know what I'm saying? He had chewing gum as an endorsement deal. He had a video game coming out. He had multiple movies coming out. He was with Vans. And this is before Rihanna. When that happened, you know, he took a hiatus for a second.
And everything left.
Everything left. All of those endorsements, everything left. But then he came back with Deuces a couple years later after he's done two albums I forget if it was Fame and something else.
Yeah,
I could
Fame.
be wrong about that. But around that time period, he's the reason why the mixtape came back. What? Nobody's done a mixtape since the fucking 90s. He came out with a mixtape, and Deuces was on the mixtape. That wasn't even an album record. He went from that into just creating his own art, because the music industry wasn't fucking with him like that. He was like, all right,
I don't need you.
I'm gonna be the bad guy. If y'all want me to be the bad guy,
Yeah.
okay, cool, I'll take that position. But at the means of it, I'm going to create. You can't stop that. You can stop all that other stuff, but now social media started to peak. And he's like, okay, YouTube, I can just create my own music videos. And now he has a company that he
does
directs
them.
the music videos.
Yeah, that's why they're always so last minute, probably, right? Because like
I mean, he just
I hear
does
that he
them.
does literally like we're doing a music video tomorrow.
Yeah. But
Like,
it's not even...
like genuinely like so
It's
many
a
people.
fact.
Why not?
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
not even that it's last minute. It's just he does so much at one time. Like, he does so much at one time. That's why I say if an alien came down here and said, we want to
He's
see
giving them a high
what-"
five saying, "What's up, brother?"
He's like, yo, you coming to
Oh,
dinner
I know
tonight,
you.
right?
I know
Yeah.
you.
He was like, I saw you last night at the mixer with the blue. You had the blue drink with the orange bitch. Okay, cool. I don't call women bitches. This, I got you, but
Just a word.
we get it. Yeah, just a word. Apologies. You can beat that. But yeah, I would say Chris on that end. And if we're gonna go for a creative director, oh, that's hard too. Because you never know who really is responsible for the overall.
That's what I was gonna say,
Mm-hmm.
especially like in the States,
Yeah, you never really know.
because there's so many step makers
Mhm.
under the creative or the choreographer.
Because you got a Frank Gatson who is OG, who's amazing. You got a
Who
Jamie
has-
King.
and they all have people.
Just people.
Yeah,
They have
yeah.
teams.
Yeah.
Like, so, man, yeah, I would have to say Chris just based on
Yeah.
his physical ability, how much energy he puts into what he does, and how unapologetic he is, and how raw that is. Because if you're going to showcase creativity or movement or entertainment, it is all of that. He is hip hop. He is contemporary. He is not he's not nothing. He's everything.
Yeah,
And he
yeah. You can't put him in a box.
at all.
Exactly.
He's a
Yeah.
contemporary artist. What does that mean? That
He's new.
means he's always,
Yeah.
he can go from doing a Unsit record in the club for Europe. He can go and do a house record. He can go do an Afro beats record. He can go do a reggae record. Because he's done it. He did 100 of them shits on one album.
Yeah.
2 albums,
Yeah, he
actually. You know what I'm saying? And he can shapeshift. And he's going to give you the movement and the creative texture and integrity behind it. Like, I'm just rambling because that's like... He's
I
the
think
guy for
aliens
today.
accept him.
Oh, 1,000.
yeah.
He's their ruler.
Easily.
Yeah, he's shaped like one.
Yeah.
He's
Fair
shaped like
play.
one. Put him in a silhouette. He looks just like the alien from X-Files. 1,000%.
Tall, long hands.
Wah, 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 wah.
Just watch him do turn up the music on the VMAs with the bigrams, and you go, oh, he's accepted.
Oh,
Yeah.
1,000%.
Like-
That fucking beam
That
of light.
performance, he's accepted.
She's great.
We got to wrap this up,
Yeah, no
fellas.
stress, no
Thank
stress.
you so much. It
We
was
can do this again
beautiful.
if you
Bro,
want. I'm
we'll
here.
100%
Absolutely.
do this again.
I got stories, G.
Bro, I want
yeah.
stories.
Yeah, I got
would
some.
love to get you and Marvin here together to tell stories.
We can face. I got one of Marvin.
Like,
Dubai.
like I want to hear like tour stories, like tour life.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
I-
few cause we didn't tour with Ush. His album didn't do good when we were with him.
But you did like iTunes festival and shit.
Yeah,
like
we did
that
a bunch
with
of
Flo.
festivals. We did a bunch of festivals around the world, which was great. So technically, it was a tour, but it wasn't a titled tour.
Yeah, yeah. It
I
wasn't
didn't
like
do
the Oh My
fir-
Gosh tour.
Exactly, and Marv did all of those.
Yeah.
I didn't do my first tour, like titled tour, until 2016 with Chris. It was the party tour, and that was only 3 months. And then the second tour that I ever did, titled, was Justin Timberlake.
That's crazy because I feel like I've seen you on so much tour footage.
I did
but,
Pink
like,
Print with Nicki. Like I get brought in last minute to
Yeah.
save the day.
Because like I saw you do
necessarily.
Derulo.
That was not a tour. He just was getting his bread together for all of his other cycles.
Okay. Because I saw you in Wales.
Yeah.
Like
That was
with-
all
with
promo.
You and Lee Daniel. It was just you two.
Just us two.
In like 2009.
Yep.
Is that right?
Like 2010.
2010?
No. It's like 2011
Maybe 11.
and 12. 2011, 12.
Because this is me. I'm a door opener. That is like I live by you
On
open
gang.
doors, and if it's locked, you kick that bitch open.
100.
I took Lee Daniels' class, dance peeps. I don't recommend you do this. I took Lee Daniels' class for Dance to Excess in London, and I just said, thanks for class. That was our only ever interaction. Like, and then I messaged him for tickets to go and watch the show, and he went, of course, bro. I don't know anyone
that's
in Cardiff.
cool.
I was like, bless.
That's awesome.
Dude, that's been like how I meet everyone. Just be
Bruh.
like, because especially in Wales where there's no dancers, when dancers used to come, I used to be like, we're the only people in this entire city that have anything in common. Let's be friends.
That's
Like,
facts.
you know,
That's
you're like,
facts.
let's be
That's how we
Don't
met.
really have a
yeah,
choice.
Yeah, that's how we met.
Let's be
It's fucking
friends.
lit.
Everyone.
Hey man, fortune favors the bold. Gee, I learned that from my acting coach. Like, you know, closed mouths don't get fed. You get punched in the mouth, it'll open up, and then I shove something in there. But that's just a lesson.
Where
Like,
did we learn that one? Was that from 50?
No, the Kanye West documentary.
Kanye West
Jay-Z.
documentary.
what'd he say?
He
Is
said,
that the
Jay-Z,
doc-
closed mouths don't get fed.
1,000.
Because when Kanye goes in
In the
can I go
studio.
in and spit some bars? And he comes out and he goes, damn.
I'm glad you said
Glad
something.
you
He was
said
like,
something.
cause closed mouths don't get fed.
And
I
we
said,
had,
fucking
and we had said that like 2 days before speaking. And that day I just booked a movie that I didn't get to audition for, but I messaged Block in LA to message the choreographer to like get me
Get
in.
this, yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm getting
I'm gonna-
seen.
whether you do it or not, I'm gonna
someone's
get it.
and it worked. And we always say like, you have to be bold.
Always, man. It took a second for me to get to that point because I definitely am very reserved. I am a reserved individual. And I don't think that I need to be balls out and like super extroverted in order to get anything that I want out of life because I manifest and it's mine anyway. Whether you're going to give it to me or I'm going to have to take it, it's mine. It's already for me. Like I ain't tripping off none of that. So your story is your story, mine is mine. There's a big enough plate in this industry for all of us to eat off of. I don't want, from this point, people to conceptualize the industry as cliquey. It is, but it's something here for you.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Now you can create your own. Just put the fucking work in. Get it. It's that time. It's time to put the work in. I was talking to a good friend of mine, Kai Martinez, Codie. She's fucking lit. And we had a conversation when I was in LA recently, and she's at that place. Mentally, we've practiced to be at this place now. And she's getting these opportunities. As a woman in a male-driven industry, she's kicking doors in right now. And it's going to be beautiful to see her in the next year. And I can't fucking wait. Mark my words.
Boys,
Here first.
been a pleasure. What's your Instagram?
SEE Wiggins.
At SEE Wiggins.
And at Andre, ANDREI, European version of Andre, MINEA1.
We're gonna put
He's
that.
gonna-
in,
yeah,
we're gonna
it's-
put that
yeah,
in the
yeah,
bio.
yeah.
Also, TikTok,
It's a long
SEE_Wiggins, and he's
Andre on TikTok, easy.
popping.
Go. Oh, you popping your
So
TikTok
I have
star.
an idea. Can I say it on air?
Yeah, for sure.
I think that you should interview this cat, like about the TikTok generation, journey, genre in itself.
We're
He
down.
started in November. We were competing in November as friends because I need
of
that.
course.
We
It's a
were trying
marathon.
it's a marathon 1,000. And I was like, bruh, we got to get to 3,000 followers together, like or 2,000 first.
Yeah.
And then we'll go to 10. And then from 10, we'll try to get to 20, da 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 da. He says, okay, cool. I took a second off and I beat him to 2,000 followers. This motherfucker beat me to 10 in like 3 days. And then he's now at what, 250?
200.
200 and what?
200K.
That's over 2 months.
In 2
Or
months.
less.
I've heard some people blow up on TikTok and
Quick.
just go. I heard someone got like 160 million followers in like one
One
night.
night.
Yeah.
It happens. It's just faster. But he put the work in since November.
I couldn't even
What
get
content
1,000
are you
in 3
creating?
weeks, so I quit.
Dance. Oh,
That's
dance
great.
But it
content.
just takes a second.
And just
Yeah,
mixed with
yeah.
like
By the
some
time you
acting
do that
sometimes and
first
stuff
month,
like that.
Right.
But mostly it's like dance
It's
challenges.
just the algorithm.
Yeah.
It's all the content consistency that we were talking about in the interview. It really is just putting the work in.
Yeah.
And you allowing yourself to make these mistakes in public.
Yeah.
I'll
Or you
make
need to
much
be a
of
hot chick.
That was
Oh,
a
yeah.
big
Because if you're a
ol'
hot
It's
chick
easy.
and you can do this before every shot,
Yeah, easy.
done.
done.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
I can wear a wig.
The-
I'll do that.
I was so desperate.
I don't need one, but
I was
like-
so desperate to get to 1,000 followers within 2 weeks because we were doing this movie and I was slating TikTok and because all the young uns are killing it on there and I was like, we could just all train together. Like we could jam, we could sesh, and they're all dope and they're all killing it. And then they all kind of opened my eyes to it, to being like, actually, you're being quite like closed-minded. You need to see the bigger picture. And I was like, do you know what? You're right.
You're right.
It's my old-fashioned mentality of just artists matter, not TikTok.
But you can
Whereas
session
this is
the
new.
same.
So
I was the same. I was
so
the
I was
same.
like, cool, I'm gonna try it. 2 weeks of like, I was in. And I was like, I'm gonna get to 1,000 in a week. I didn't. So I was like, 2 weeks. I'm gonna give myself 2 weeks, edge the buff for a bit. I didn't. So like I think I had a day left. So I was like, I'm gonna be a thirsty little bitch. So
this.
I was shirtless. I was in the gym. I was like,
Last
oh, I'm
resort.
posing. And I was like, because it's me, you. I was like this. I'm gonna be famous tomorrow when I wake up. Woke up like 2 new followers. I was like,
damn it, I'm deleting it.
No, then it's in.
I know, but I just find it such a drain trying to do social media, like
I know.
posting every day.
I know, it's
Yeah.
just we're not made for that, but
We're
I
not
feel like
made
we
for
can.
it.
It's compiling it.
We can make it happen. And actually, a lot of people like Swoosh and that they meet up and they do all their videos like in a day, and then they have constant. Is that what you guys do?
Yeah.
And then you have regular.
We do
Yeah.
10 in a session. We just did one before we came in. We do 10 a session.
Is it?
And then that 10 will last
What,
the
just
week.
like 15, 20-second bursts, or like is it like?
It depends on the routine, but you think about this. This is just my concept of it,
Go,
where
go.
I'm now today, because now I'm approaching it differently. I can do the same dance 50 times.
which comes back to what we were saying earlier, promoting your same product.
Exactly. Now I can do it in a different outfit. I can do it in
Okay.
a different setting.
And there's someone
Yep.
next to you,
Different people.
2 people now.
Okay, so can I teach you my Usher one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Should we wrap up and I'll teach you my Usher one?
Yeah, and
be
then let's go
famous.
outside and film it.
And then
Let's
if you
do it.
send it to Usher.
he follows me. I think he follows me. He might not follow me. Let me not say that. But I have a few that follow
But if
me.
you
that
don't,
will
you
see
should.
it.
Yeah.
On gang.
Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
same,
and we
same.
will make that happen.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Looking forward.
Do y'all want to do something cool to make the camera fade out?
I'm gonna do something cool to make the camera fade out.
Fade out.